let me take one more pair before I call it a day. Let's look at another pair on the Euro USD. On the Euro USD, I'm expecting a bullish momentum on the Euro USD, and I already have a position triggered here on the Euro USD. I had a position triggered here at 1.05530, and I'm open to, I have a pending order sitting right above at 1.05923 and above this key level at 1.06045. So how did I get to this conclusion? So let's scale up to the higher time frame where we would have a better perspective into what my thought process is. So let's look at this critically. If we go to the daily time frame, it is obvious that price has been on a bearish momentum, and if you look closely into what has been happening, you will see that we have more or less the same similar scenario with that which we had on the AUD USD. And what do I mean by that? If we look at what has been happening since the month of April, since the beginning of the month of April, we can see that we have a very strong impulsive move to the downside, which becomes our impulse leg. And since price tested 1.03500, we saw a rejection of this area by the buyers during the early part of May and pushed price further into 1.07710 area. And then we saw price come back down again during the early days of the month of June, and you can see a sharp rejection of that same area at 1.03700 area. And you will agree with me that this did not go beyond the previous low. So what it simply means that at this area in the market, buyers are actually very strong. As we can see, since the mid of June, we saw a sharp rejection and we saw price continue to find higher lows from this point in time. So now going into the new week, what do we want to do to guide our actions going forward? I remember that during the course of last week's trading session, I've been having a bullish momentum here, though I took some profit here on the Euro USD last week, but it wasn't that significant as price didn't move as quickly as possible. I think there was not enough liquidity in the market during last week's trading session, so we didn't have that significant move to the upside. So what I want to be looking out for going into the new week is this. We want to be having our key level sitting at 1.06000, which shall be our guide going forward. And why have we identified this area as our key level? If we look left, we can see that this area has many times been a supply zone. This area supplies before we saw the breakout of that structure. Then price came back down, broke down that structure to the downside one more time, and then we have a retest of this area, retest multiple times. So now for me to buy on this pair, I want to see price break above that area. That is giving me a sign that buyers have taken over from the sellers, from the sellers at their selling niche, to give me a potential of buying the euro against the USD. So when we scale down to a much lower time frame, let's say the 2 hours time frame, like I told you earlier on the daily time frame, I told you how price has continued to find higher lows since it tested the demand zone during the month of June, and we saw how price has been finding higher lows. We saw this bullish, this engulfing move to the upside to retest that key level at 1.0600, and we can see how price has been finding higher lows. And if we connect the series of higher lows together, we definitely have this bullish trend line. So going into the New York session today, we want to be using this bullish trend line as another parameter that will guide our action going forward. So what I want to be doing here is this. I want to be waiting for price to break out of that key level. Initially, I actually entered one here at 1.05523. That was, I opened with a very small position with the hopes of testing waters to see if price will actually move as expected. But fortunately for me, it's moving as expected. But to make our confirmation pronounced, we want to see a breakout and retest of that key level at 1.06000, where we see a retest, which might also share a confluence with a bullish trend line, and then we look for patterns on lower time frame to join the potential rally to the upside. Now, if you look at the structure closely, we can see that price has been respecting that bearish trend line I showed you on the daily time frame. So one thing I want to be doing here is this: if price now breaks above that bearish trend line, that is, if you see something like this, a retest of structure should welcome further welcome more opportunities to take advantage of a trend continuation to the upside. So this is my scenario here on the Euro USD. The first parameter is the key level sitting at 1.0600. The second parameter is the bullish trend line here, the dotted black trend line, bullish trend line here, as we want to see price continue to respect that bullish trend line to the upside. And if we see a breakdown of that bullish trend line, then definitely we should be hesitant of taking any bullish opportunity here, as we want to see what will happen at that breakdown. And if we see a break above of this bearish trend line, let me give it a red to emphasize its importance at this juncture in the market. So we have it a red. If we see a break above of that bearish trend line, then a retest of structure would give us a sign that price is going to the upside. So where will our take profit target be for this week? Where are we aiming at our take profit target for this week? I don't know what happened there. Did I just delete my position? My goodness, I think I deleted it. Let me see again. Let me see. I want to go back to where I started from so that I'm sure. Okay, so that is my position here. So when we go back to the 1 hour time frame so that I can see what's okay. Sorry about this. So I'm looking at the take profit target at around 1.1 area, but for the meantime, that's from a long-term perspective, which will give us around 450 pips here about. But since we are doing analysis for this week, then definitely we want to be aiming at around 1.0700 area as our take profit target initially, and that's going to give us around 100 pips minimum. And if price breaks above this area, then we can be thinking of adding more position to this trade. So at this point, I'll pause the video. If you don't mind, you can screenshot my screen so that you can use it as a reference purpose when you are making your own individual decision. So this is what I'm looking out for on the Euro USD. I guess this is going to be my last pair that I'll be taking today, as we're already